artificial intelligence platform, AIP, is probably the area of Palantir that most people are most excited about, including Alex Karp himself. It's the area that is expected to see the most growth and the most demand, and single-handedly expand Palantir's customer base the most. But AIP hasn't been around that long. It only got announced as being a new platform that Palantir were going to offer in a letter from Alex Karp back in April this year, April 2023. So we are very, very much still in early days for this platform. We haven't even had an entire year of its existence yet. And then of course we had the Q3 earnings. Now this wasn't that long ago, but in the letter that came from Alex Karp, he said, companies across industries in the United States are scrambling to deploy software platforms that will allow them to leverage the power of the latest large language models. And we have built what they need. Every large organization in the markets that we serve is a potential customer, and we intend to work with them all. Now that was a very, very bullish statement, and it's referring to not only the power, the value, and the demand of AIP, but also it's referring to the total addressable market and the possible market share that AIP really has. Essentially, any industry, any organization in any industry out there could find value having AIP. So it's clear that they have a platform that is very good, and it's clear that the demand is there. However, now it's just about scaling that and actually getting it into as many organizations as they possibly can. Their strategy so far for AIP has been somewhat questionable. Some people haven't liked how they've gone about this, especially Wall Street analysts. And actually, Wall Street analysts have been basing a lot of their downgrades and their reduced price ratings on the fact that right now, AIP is not monetized in the traditional sense, meaning that customers are not paying a one-up fee to gain access to AIP, nor are they paying a recurring ongoing charge in order to use it. But I do think that it's also silly to say that AIP brings in Palantir no revenue whatsoever, because in a way it is indirectly monetized right now, and we'll talk about that later on in the video. If you have Palantir in your portfolio or you're looking to add it soon, then you need to make sure you are up to date with all the latest information. And if you want to make sure that is the case, and you also want to chat to myself and other keen investors, consider joining the Patreon, where you'll also get access to the Discord. Alongside that, you will also know every single time I buy and sell any position in my portfolio, and you will get weekly portfolio updates and much, much more. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let's talk about some pros and some cons of the way Palantir are going about this AIP monetization, or should I say lack of monetization, and their go-to-market strategy. We will start off with the againsts. Now, I am definitely much more aligned with this being a really positive thing, and I completely understand why they're doing it, the benefit and the value of them doing it this way. And we'll talk about all of those. But I do think it's interesting to see some of the points that people raise as to why this is a bad idea, because some of them, you know, there is some ground there, and I think some of them do make an awful lot of sense. So the first one is that if you have a valuable product like AIP is, and it claims to be, we know this, we know even in the AIP con days, we are hearing how valuable this product is, transforming businesses in terms of top line, bottom line, saving lives in healthcare organizations, completely transforming supply chain issues and fixing things like that, making businesses proactive instead of reactive. It seems to be very valuable. So if you've got a valuable product, the argument would be that you should actually charge for that product, because people would be willing to pay in return for the value. And by not having a price tag on it, that kind of reduces the sense of value that you're getting. Anything that is free is always great. We love freebies. So if you give away a platform for free and it increases your productivity, your business's productivity, let's say by 1%, that's absolutely fantastic, because you had no upfront cost. It was free. It's a win-win. However, if you pay $2 million, $100 million, $1, whatever, there is a charge. You then expect a little bit more in return. So if you pay for something and that platform increases productivity by 4%, which is more than that 1%, you may actually not deem that as being as valuable and as worth your money. So this kind of leads on to the next one, which is it's harder for Palantir to see a true reflection of how valuable this product is. Because it's free, we'll talk about this in just a minute as well, whether it's actually free or not, people are going to be very happy and are going to say that it's really, really good. And of course, this actually may cause demand to be exaggerated because again, it's free. Businesses are not having to take the risk of parting with their money in return for something that they don't know whether it's going to be good yet or not. That kind of ties into one of the positives, actually showing that demand, showing that value up front. However, if it was monetized, would that demand still be there? That's the question. And then from Palantir's point of view, having a price tag on something allows you to actually see your resource allocation better and how much time and money you are putting into something and then what you're getting back in return in terms of financial gain. Because there will be a lot of upfront cost, time and effort, Palantir will need to put their resources into development, into improving AIP, into onboarding people, teaching people, supporting people, holding these AIP boot camps that we know about. All of that stuff is going to take resources off of other areas that are perhaps bringing in more financial gain at this point in time. And they're doing this with no immediate financial benefits. And this ties into the next one, which is just that there is a wasted opportunity for making money. They've got a platform. If they put a price tag on it and they get customers paying that price tag, they will be getting revenue. They'll be getting money. That is ultimately good for growing the business. They can then put that money, reinvest into themselves and grow it further. But right now they are not doing that with AIP. The last point is that Palantir may be wasting time on clients who are only showing an interest because it's free and actually won't pay for it once it does cost. I don't think that's the case at all, but that is a true point, that actually having a price tag on something allows a business to actually weed out those customers that aren't serious and are only probably going to waste Palantir resources time, and then actually focus on those companies, those businesses, those organizations that are really serious and are willing to pay for it. Therefore, they're fully into it and they're not going to be wasting Palantir's time. So drop me a comment now if you're this far in the video and let me know if you agree with any of those points that we've just covered or what your arguments would be against those points. And now we'll move on to the pros of actually not having AIP monetized yet. The first one is the one that you'll probably hear about the most. And I think, in my opinion, this is the one I align with. And I kind of think this is maybe why Palantir are doing this. And this is the whole idea of long-term gain and delayed gratification. Palantir are willing to take this hit now and give something away for free because they know that in the future they will be rewarded. So the whole idea is to actually show the value, show companies how valuable and how much benefit they can get from using artificial intelligence platform. And then one day Palantir will decide to monetize this. Once they do, these companies will be so integrated and actually see so much reward from AIP that they won't want to be without it. And at this point, this is where the numbers get really, really interesting. Because ultimately, what they are trying to do is they're trying to reduce the barrier to entry. They are basically reducing the risk that businesses need to take. They are not having to part with an upfront fee. That means clients are way more likely to sign up and actually start using AIP in their business. At that point, it integrates. It's hard, it's sticky, it's hard to get rid of, and then you have the value that it provides. Those two things combined mean that actually, I imagine a lot of customers, once it's monetized, will just be happy to pay whatever really, because of how valuable it is. And Palantir won't actually get loads of people just turn away and walk away. I think that is probably the biggest reason that they are doing this. Show the value now, people will pay later. And then this obviously means that they can get their market share and their client base as large as possible. Because obviously, again, if you are putting something as free, you will get way more signups. That means that their client base is maybe 10x what it would be if it cost right now. Then people are there already for them when Palantir want to monetize. And with something like AIP, with artificial intelligence in general, it's very new. Customers, clients, they don't really understand, and they especially don't really understand how it's going to actually benefit their business. It's not tangible. It's not something that they they use every day and that they understand the value of already. So again, by reducing that barrier to entry and showing them the value first, it works in Palantir's favor. And I think I already said this in the video, but actually Palantir, I believe, have followed this strategy before and they've been successful in doing so. So why wouldn't they do that again with a new product? It also helps Palantir accelerate the development and make AIP as good as it can be, because what they are able to do is actually gain feedback. It's kind of like beta testing their product, giving it to all these people for free. They obviously aren't going to expect amazing things because it's free, so their expectations psychologically are lowered slightly, but then they can give feedback, Palantir can make it better, and then it can be as good as it can be, as valuable as it can be when monetization comes. Now we need to speak about whether or not AIP is truly free. Now, in the traditional sense, like I said at the beginning of this video, it is not yet monetized. However, Palantir's other platforms, Foundry, Gotham, Apollo, they are not free. Companies can have artificial intelligence platform as a standalone product, but most companies, most businesses won't be able to do that, and they will actually need Foundry, for example, to have AIP and to utilize AIP to its full potential. And that is because without a method of actually interacting with that data, AIP is not going to be all that beneficial. So what does this mean for Palantir? Well, it means that actually they're offering something for free and that looks really great to a client, but in the background, they are kind of upselling Foundry, which is great because then they will have people using Foundry and AIP, and one day both of those will be monetized. So actually, AIP is kind of indirectly driving sales. It's indirectly driving Foundry sales, which is benefiting Palantir financially. As a Palantir investor with a very long-term horizon, and I'm willing to be patient and wait, I actually really like this strategy. I like the fact that at the moment AIP is not monetized because I see why they're doing it. I'm aligned with their reasons for it. However, I would quite like some information as to when they plan to monetize and what that monetization strategy will look like in the future. We haven't yet had that information, kind of was hoping for it in the Q3 earnings. We didn't get it. That's okay. Hopefully we will get it soon. I think that would be, for investors especially, it would be really great to actually have that visibility. It's not going to make an awful lot of difference for me in terms of my conviction right now, but it would just be a nice to have. I also really like their AIP bootcamps that they're doing as the go-to-market strategy for AIP. It seems to be working really well. We keep saying, but in November, they are doing more AIP bootcamps than they did in the whole of 2022 in terms of pilots. That's fantastic. The comments from AIP bootcamps have been phenomenal. The demand seems to be there, and this is how they actually scale the product. They've got a good product, now they need to scale, they need to sell it, and it seems like that is what they're doing through these boot camps. I've been brainstorming a couple of ways that Palantir could actually monetize AIP, but I'm not yet entirely sure what their pricing model will actually look like. I think that it will be dependent on obviously the organizations that they're working with, rather than just a flat fee, no matter who you are, how big your organization is, that sort of thing. I think it will be customizable and it will change, but they could do a freemium model, which is basically this whole idea of them providing a basic version of the platform. That way it reduces the barrier to entry. Customers, it's an entry point for customers. And then the idea here is that the customer will be able to experience AIP, and then they will be able to commit to a fully paid version, which will unlock all the possible features, if that makes sense. You have to make that related to AIP. Remember as well, if you want to join the Patreon, get access to the Discord like I was saying, there is a link in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to chat to some of you guys on the Discord every single day. I will see you in another video very shortly.